You are writing a persuasive argument essay on a controversial topic. The goal of your essay is to convince the reader to accept, or at least consider, a point of view or call to action. To accomplish this, you must research and understand opposing sides of the argument, be respectful of different points of view, find common ground with those who do not share your position on the issue, and use research findings to present a logical, credible discussion that persuades your readers to consider the position you take within the essay.
In addition to quality research and a well-written presentation, your argument must effectively use the persuasive appeals described by Aristotle to guide a reader's comprehension and opinion.
Ethos is where we get the word ethics. Use of ethos can convince your audience that you have credibility as a writer. Let's say you are writing an argumentative essay on the topic of school uniforms. It is your personal opinion that all students enrolled in public schools in your hometown should be required to wear uniforms to classes and to most school events. You are not an expert in the field of education, or psychology, or law. You are simply a concerned citizen who believes school uniforms will promote student learning in the educational setting. In order to create a persuasive argument essay on this topic, we'll not be able to rely on your personal opinions and observations to convince a reader to consider your point of view. Instead, you will need to conduct research into the subject. You will need to find articles, psychological investigations, court cases, and interviews provided by experts who have conducted studies and published findings on the topic of school uniforms. You are not considered an expert on the topic, but by citing the work of experts in the field, you can build your own credibility in a way that will help persuade your reader to accept or consider your position on the issue. This is one way to use ethos in your essay.
Logos is where we get the word logic. Logos uses facts, statistics, expert testimony, and so on to support a position on a topic. Strong logos in an essay can also promote strong ethos for the writer and for the information being presented. For example, let's say you are writing an essay that argues tackle football should no longer be played by student athletes in your local high school. In order to get your readers to consider your position on this issue, you use research to acknowledge that there are some benefits to tackle football at the high school level. By using logos to acknowledge some of the opposition's position on the topic, you increase your ethos with those who might not initially support your position. They will view you as someone who has researched both sides of the issue and as someone who understands some of their position in favor of tackle football. As your argument essay progresses, you cite research that shows some of the negative physical effects suffered by student athletes. You cite research studies that show the potential long-term physical harm. You cite statistics that show physical damage to body organs such as the brain. You cite experts who have studied the impact of high-contact sports on the human body, and you cite experts who understand the physical development of children and how tackle football affects growth. By using facts, statistics, and expert testimony, you are increasing the logos of your argument in a way that will help persuade your reader to consider or adopt your position on the issue.
Pathos is an appeal to people's emotions. It appeals to their fears, hopes, insecurities, joys, and desires. An appeal to a reader's emotions can have more influence than an appeal to a reader's logic and common sense. For example, organizing a fight between two dogs is against the law in the United States. In spite of the law, however, some people continue to stage dog fights for entertainment and gambling purposes. Let's say you are writing an essay in support of current laws that aim to end dog fighting throughout the country. In your essay, you use logos by offering the reader researched information about laws prohibiting dog fighting. You also use ethos by presenting expert research and expert opinions on the topic. Appeals to logic and morality, however, might not be enough to persuade the audience to accept your argument that organized dog fighting should never occur. You will also need to get readers emotionally involved in the subject. One way to do this would be to cite research showing some ways in which the dogs suffer. You might provide researched evidence that explains how the dogs are typically raised in isolation, how drugs are used to make them more aggressive, and how their ears and tails are cropped to benefit fighting situations. You might provide researched evidence that describes the cuts, blood loss, injuries, and broken bones sustained by the fighting dogs. By giving the reader insight into the pain and suffering the animals experience, you are using pathos to move the reader to action or to encourage the reader to consider your position on the issue.
Ethos, logos, and pathos are powerful rhetorical tools that contribute to the success of a persuasive argument essay. But which of the three appeals is most important? It depends on the topic, purpose, and goal of the project. Usually, you'll use a combination of all three, giving emphasis to the one that best addresses the needs of your argument.
Here is one way to sum up the value of the three persuasive appeals in the development of your argument essay. If you have strong ethos, people will listen to you. If you have solid logos, people will think about what you are proposing. And if you have sincere pathos, people are more likely to act upon your wishes.
Understanding and recognizing the persuasive appeals will provide important tools to help you become a more effective and persuasive writer.